The Dream SMP is stuck between a rock and a hard place. And by stuck, we're speaking canon here. More canon than Tubbo hitting the ground too hard. It doesn't matter what character you want to LARP as on the server. It's gonna be rough. For the next arc, or 2, or 3, or maybe even 4 if it gets that long. Let me explain. By that I mean explain why you should subscribe to the channel. It's free and it only takes a second, so if you could make that red button gray, that would make my day. Enjoy the video. Welcome to another Dream SMP commentary, theory, I guess both of them in this video. We're going to be talking about sort of the direction of the Dream SMP and where I think it went wrong. Also, I think Quackity's going to revive Dream, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, so I've watched a lot of anime in my time, so naturally, as any person that has consumed a significant amount of content can tell you, I've learned a good bit about basic storytelling. I mean, enough to analyze it, but not nearly enough to write it. So, in general, you need a character to have a goal in a story for there to actually be progression. And for the most part, the Dream SMP has had that in mind. Like, there's been personal goals for each character, the obvious goals of power for most people like Wilbur, Dream, I guess Bad Boy Halo to an extent. There's obviously been anarchy for Technoblade. For Tommy, it's obviously Tubbo's hand in marriage. And obviously the most burrito for Mexican Dream, arguably the most important one. And that's just to name a few. Each character has their own unique motivations. And that's because a character in a story needs a motivation to progress. And I think that kind of explains why the Dream SMP has slowed down so much recently. Pretty much every character, I guess, with the exception of the people around the Egg and the Syndicate, are motivated by Dream. And the people not motivated by Dream, so the people that are doing stuff with the Egg and the people in the Syndicate, bro, they put their lore streams super spread out. Have you seen Techno's upload schedule? They put these streams super spread out, and I feel like they're just trying to prolong the arc and make it longer for them to actually figure out what they're doing. So that's probably why the Egg is taking so long. They don't have a clear direction compared to something like L'Manberg, where it was very clear where the story was going. But for the Egg, it's not exactly clear, partially because it's magic. I mean, I've talked about it to great extent in multiple videos. But if you look at the main motivation now for most of the story, or for most of the server, Dream is the main motivation. But the thing is, Dream's in prison. He's pretty much quarantined. The way they're handling Dream is the same way we were supposed to handle the Rona. He's locked in a cell, and if no one went to flip and visit Dream, that would probably have been the end of the Dream SMP. I mean, with the exception of the Egg would have lasted maybe another month or 2, perhaps even longer based on how long they're stretching it out. But ultimately, the Dream SMP would be winding down by now if Dream was properly quarantined. Even if people went to visit Dream, let's just say that there is a glass screen or iron bars in between the visitor and Dream. All the stuff that's happening in the story right now, over. Both options nullify the risk of being in the same room as Dream. Which is, quick side note, I think if the main holding cell was made like that, I think it was intentionally made unsafe by Sam, just to make sure they can continue to move the plot like this. That holding cell, if you're allowing visitors, that's essentially what you're doing is having an entire prison. Let's just say your prison has one person, and to visit them, you're literally just letting someone walk into the prison. Not only that, but there is a massive, large lava barrier surrounding any guards between you and the prisoner. He works so hard to do other safety things in the prison. To fall short on something as basic like this, if he intended for there to actually be visitors in the prison, that cell would have been way more secure. Dream would have been locked properly behind bars, not just some stupid lava curtain. There'd be a lava curtain, a place for visitors, and bars. But anyway, I digress a little bit, but that puts the server at this canonical standstill. So they're progressing the plot now by continuously having people visit Dream in a intentionally dangerous setting and interact with Dream because Dream is the villain. Let's be real here. If people knew how dangerous the actual cell of the prison was, realistically people are not going to visit Dream. But they're still doing it because that's really the only way to include danger and progress the plot. It's much worse, or like the storytelling aspect I feel like falls very short compared to the quality that we had with L'Manberg, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think there were attempts to change the main antagonist to the egg, but like I said before in multiple videos, even slightly in this video, that's really not going too well. So I'm gonna skip all the details of like the arc, like all the super specific details, but at the end of the day, so the taxi driver for the school bus that is Dream SMP is Dream. And I just realized that I put taxi driver and bus. So that's a little awkward. But anyway, Dream at this point has two options, at least in the narrative of the story. So either he dies in the Dream SMP, and the Dream SMP pretty much dies with him because, like I said, motivation, no motivation, we're screwed. Or he's stuck in prison, in which case he's basically dead. So the Dream SMP is stuck between these two options. Like, each previous arc had an underdog hero based in a dreamlike villain, and by dreamlike, I'm obviously not talking about looks. I'm not attracted to a Teletubby, I swear. But now that the villain is locked in the most secure way possible, assuming no visitors, it's really difficult for them to actually progress the plot along. So now for the theory component. So this is where I'm going to talk about Quackity Revive and Dream, just as a spoiler alert. But anyway, so at this point in the Dream SMP, so Dream is the main driver of the plot, and there are currently 2 attempts on his life. Eventually, I suspect that Dream is going to succumb to Quackity's torture. So, okay, I just realized that sentence sounds really, really bad. So before the FBI just breaks into my home and cuffs me for that last sentence, I'm talking completely canonically here and not realistically, and it's some like 12-year-old block game or 11 years old. I'm not entirely sure how old Minecraft is. I'm not a criminal, I swear. But anyway, on the other hand, Tommy is pioneering another method to murder Dream. He's building his towers and stuff. Bottom line, Dream is done for, gone, finished, finito, omae wa mou shinderu, levels of dead. But before Tommy got to kill Dream, so Quackity is going to learn how to revive from Dream, so Dream will be spared from like Quackity's violent torture. And I think it's because of Quackity's violent torture that Tommy's going to be able to kill Dream in the first place. Dream is going to just be so mangled up, he's going to be in so much pain, he'd rather die, so he's just going to let Tommy kill him or something. I don't think there's going to be a super climactic battle between Tommy and Dream at this point, because Quackity has done enough. But at this point, Quackity's going to have learned to revive, and we'll have revived J Schlatt. It's going to come to a point where Schlatt becomes the main villain again, fortunately, and Tommy's attention shifts to Schlatt, but ultimately, Schlatt's just not a strong enough threat. So he's going to need to hire a mercenary, and Quackity's going to really have no choice but to revive Dream, because Dream was the past mercenary. But the thing is, now that Quackity's revived him, we've seen in the past, Dream was saying that he's going to have Wilbur owe him his life post-revival. So Dream's going to owe Quackity his life post-revival. And Dream and Schlatt, like, they go way back. They were previously the only owners of the Revive book. I mean, both of them were in possession of the Revive book. It'd be fitting if both of them were revived with the knowledge from the book. Ultimately, we're going to see this turn into a cycle. Rinse, repeat, reduce, reuse, recycle, sing the ABCs before you turn off the faucet. We're done here. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire rest of the Dream SMP. It's going to keep looping like that. After that, Dream becomes the villain. He gets to prison. Eventually, they could break out of prison again, or not necessarily the prison, because I don't think they'd exactly repeat, but some kind of secure holding cell. And then he's going to break out, and then a bunch of revival. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how the rest of the Dream SMP is going to go. As you leave, there's going to be a donation box on your left where you can drop off points, as well as the big red subscribe button. I highly ask that you pass that on your way out. But make sure when you put the quarters in, just only quarters and up. Anyway, so that was another video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you made it this far, comment sauce in the comment section below. I guess your spelling doesn't really matter, although for me to recognize it, it should at least resemble the word sauce. But in any case, make sure to leave a like if you liked. Not a like, that would be a little awkward. And subscribe if you think it deserves a subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.